thank you for joining me on my channel. Today's teacher video is about how to plan for your year. You know that some of you have already started back to work and started planning for your year, but this is always helpful. No matter what time of year it is, you can always implement it and you can always use it for next year. So I hope that you find these tips useful and helpful. So you could use something like this for when you're planning for the year. And what I would suggest you do is, this is the last box, so you're going to put where you want the students to be. This is the last spot where they should be before they go on to the next grade or before they graduate. And over here you're going to put where they should be when they come to you. Now, I know that they're not always going to be there, and you need to keep that in mind. They may not be exactly on level of where you want them to be. So what you should do is put ideas or plans of how to get them to that level, so that way you can get started and eventually get to here before the end of the year or by the end of the year. And then all the boxes between are how you're going to get them there. Now make sure you're including the benchmarks and standards or whatever your district uses and put them down there. For example, you're wanting them to be able to, and I'm going to use English as an example. So by the end of the year, you want to be able to do, and this is from the core standards for New Mexico, and you want them to be able to do the core standard W.11-12.9, which is going to be fully address the prompt and demonstrate advanced critical thinking in their extended answer. So what you're going to do is you're going to put that here. You're going to put all the different ideas or the goals that you have for them for the end of the year. So over here you might have attempts to respond to prompt. So they don't have any of the fully addressing or anything like that. So that's a starting point. They're at least addressing the extended response or the prompt of what they need to write about. Now in between you can have different writing prompts, different essay ideas, different novels, and they have to write extended responses on that. Those are just a few ideas, and that way you get from your starting point to your finish line. If you have a similar layout to this, which this is out of the Plum Paper Planner, Teacher Planner, so there is the idea that you could do 3, 6, 9. So this is where you want them to be at the end of the year. This is where you need them by the first 9 weeks. This is where you need them for the second 9 weeks, or you could do it second 9 weeks over here and then third here. That part would be up to you, but that way you know you have an idea of what you want to do, where you want them to be by the end of the 3rd week, by the end of the 6th week, by the end of the 9th week. You could also be like, I know where I want them to be by the end of the year, and do the backwards planning very easily with this setup. You don't have to necessarily have Plum Paper Planner. You don't necessarily have to have this exact layout, but it is an idea, and I thought that this would be a little more concrete and fairly easy, and I intend to use it when I plan for my year. Another thing is, if you're an elementary school teacher, you kind of have an idea of, okay, this is back to school, getting to know you, starting off around here's October, so I want to do related, Halloween related or fall related ideas, Thanksgiving, Christmas related, all of that, and you could tie in the standards to that. So you can always just write down your ideas of what you want to do for each month, or each 3 weeks, or each 9 weeks. Your choice of how you want to plan, whatever works easiest for you. But that way you can easily pull back, go look at the standards, and tie the standards to your ideas. The reason for doing this is so that you have a clear plan of where you are starting from and where you need to go. And you have a clear idea of what you're going to do between time. So that way you're not starting over here and then jumping way over here. You know that you have steps that you need to follow before you can get to the finish line, and then you reflect back on this whenever you're making your lesson plans. Another thing to keep in mind while you're planning for your year is look at your must-haves. What must you have for your lessons to reach those goals? What are your needs to have? What do you need to go to that final goal? For example, I said over here is the starting point. So what do you need to have in order to get to this must-have goal over here for the finish line? And then you can fill in the rest with the nice-to-haves. So what would be nice to be able to cover? What would it be nice to be able to discuss or read with your students or have them write? And then, time willing, you can put those in and fill in the blanks with the nice-to-haves. But make sure you have the must-haves and make sure you have those need-to-haves. Big suggestion whenever you're doing your planning is whenever you're using something like this, you're writing out your ideas for the year, use pencil, because otherwise you'll just have a hot mess. Unless you're making copies of these, then make extra copies. But my main problem is when I do that and I write in pen, I'll mess up on one thing and then I'll grab another paper and then everything I had correct, I'll end up messing up on something like that. So I would suggest writing in pencil. I hope that this was helpful in some way. I hope that you have a great school year. Thanks for watching. Have a great day and God bless.
And if you like this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe.